Everything you said we already knew, more or less.
Well, here's something that you didn't know. 2 of those special atomic bombs haven't gone off.
Hotel was not pet friendly. Well, do you want to shout them out, the hotel, so we can push them to be pet friendly?
It's the Hilton Garden Inn by the Charlotte Airport. And
I know exactly which one you're talking about because it's the one we always stay at if we need to fly out.
It's an awesome hotel. Everybody there is super, super friendly. But yeah, they just don't allow pets. So Cecilia.
Do you ever feel, this is my mindset, a hotel that is not pet friendly had a bad experience with a pet?
I mean, it is probably like a liability when you have people stay with pets because like not every pet is as good as my Cecilia is.
Yeah. I got you.
Like, I mean, sometimes they have accidents and then, hotels are mostly carpet. So that's got to stink.
And Cecilia is 11, you said?
Yeah, she's 11.
Have you had her entire life?
I've had her since she was 6 weeks old.
So you were telling me before we started that you foster. Do you foster? Is that a new thing that you and Shannon do, or is that?
Well, we were approached by the owners of the gym that we work out at.
Okay.
And they had a next door neighbor that had a dog. It was like an older dog. Mm-hmm. And I guess they were just leaving him in the hot garage and like tethered to a leash, never letting him inside.
Yeah.
He was a little guy.
Like bad dog owners.
Yeah. And it was like really, really hot when we started fostering him. It was like the middle of summer. Mm-hmm. And so, in Florida, we were having like 100-degree days and they're leaving him outside in a hot garage. And so we were like, we'll foster him. We'll find him a new home, And then we started fostering him and then we gave him a name like immediately. We started calling him Buster Douglas. And, you can't just call him Buster.
Then you fell in love. Yeah. That's what happens. That's why I don't foster dogs. Yeah. I'd love to, but if I had a farm, I've always said if I won $1 million or if I had unlimited money, I would start a farm where I just have like a dog farm. Yeah. That all dogs that I choose to foster would just live there and just roam the property inside of a fence. I never have to worry about them getting out. And then just come feed at certain times, play with them at certain times. People can come hang out with them.
My dream is to have a Chihuahua rodeo.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So
now, what kind of dog is Buster?
He's a Chihuahua mix. So I think he's like a Chiweenie. We're not really sure.
My sister has a Chiweenie.
Yeah.
And that thing barks all the time.
He likes to tell me where stuff is.
Gotcha.
He'll like give me like a little like, like a little like announcement bark, I guess. But then he stops. But
so he doesn't just go.
No.
Okay.
No, we got lucky. Yeah.
Yes.
But when we got Buster, we didn't know how old he was. Mm-hmm. He's missing all of his bottom teeth, and he has a mysterious tattoo on his belly. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I always like joke about him, like, man, Buster, like, we don't even know what kind of life you lived.
I was gonna say, Buster sounds well traveled.
Yeah.
Buster has had a life.
Buster Douglas. That's why he's got 2 names,
Is he about the same size?
No. Well, when we first got him, he was like about the size of Cecilia. Mm-hmm. And now he outweighs her by about 10 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
So he eats well.
Yeah, he eats really, really well.
Gotcha. Now, with fostering dogs, have you fostered any that you had to find homes for?
No, we just started with Buster Douglas.
Because I was going to say, that's the hardest thing for me, is you can't, like, I could keep, I remember when I kept a friend's dog one time, and when I was married, and that dog was, the second day, I was like, I could keep this dog.
Right.
Like, this dog can just stay at the house. And it was not a very good dog, like not a very well-trained dog.
You were just in love with it.
I've been lucky that the dogs, like my dog now is Odie. And I don't know what he is. Me and my girlfriend fight all the time about what he is. He looks like an Australian sheepdog and like maybe a German Shepherd mix or something like that. Mm-hmm. But he's real tall and he like runs fast, but he's got a white coat with brown spots.
Oh, wow.
And like brown on his face and brown spots. But he sheds like crazy, and it sucks so bad. You sweep the floor in the morning, by the night it looks like you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
That's the way it's been. But he's four or five. My girlfriend, actually, I can't take credit for like picking him up. My girlfriend found him in a ditch.
Aww.
Like I think it was right before Christmas, and he was like 4 weeks old or something like that.
Oh my gosh. I hate
I'll show you
people
pictures
sometimes.
afterwards. He's so cute.
I don't know how you could do that to an animal.
I know.
Man. That
And
breaks my heart.
But that's the problem is if I foster, like if I had money, I would buy every dog that's in the video, like in a commercial.
Oh my gosh, I can't. I just start crying when I watch those commercials, and it's terrible.
Yeah, and they know what they're doing because they put the Sarah McLachlan behind it.
I know.
And then you're just like, yeah, he's cute.
Yeah.
He's cute. But all right, well, I'm sitting with Lindsay Snow, and I met her through professional wrestling. Probably 5 or 6 months ago? Was the first time with us at VWX?
Yeah, it was earlier this year.
It was before Legend, though, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
It was on the rooftop.
Yes, that was you and Taylor Avery.
Yep.
So you've ventured in wrestling. How long have you been in wrestling now?
About 3 years.
And you come from a ridiculous background. I think it's ridiculous because I've never done any of it. I've done wrestling, but Jiu Jitsu. When did you start Jiu Jitsu?
I started Jiu Jitsu in 2014.
Okay. How old were you? The only reason I ask is because I'm a huge fan of Joe Rogan, his podcast, and I listen to people on there, and they say that it's good if you become like a jiu-jitsu, like you do competitions. If you start later, it's harder to
pick it up
as opposed to if you start
started
young.
as a child,
and you train your brain to think that way.
Yeah. So I was like 27, 28 when I started training jiu-jitsu, and I did karate when I was younger. So I had
some kind of training.
Yeah, I had like a little bit of a martial arts background before I started, and then I've also did gymnastics and I did dance, like ballet, tap, jazz, acrobatics.
So you got the balance and flexibility.
Yeah, and my actual first taste of jiu-jitsu, I went to a class when I was 18, and I learned a little bit, but then I started tattooing full time, so I didn't actually have time to learn jiu-jitsu at that time. So fast forward about 10 years later.
That's wild.
Yeah.
What made you go back to it?
I really wanted to learn how to defend myself.
Gotcha.
I had been put in a couple of bad situations, and I didn't really know any self-defense, and I was a huge UFC fan. I would watch UFC religiously. Yeah. And I watched Pride. Pride was actually my absolute favorite. Watching Fedor Emelianenko, Josh Barnett, Kazushi Sakuraba. Sakuraba is probably my all-time favorite fighter ever. Him and Fedor.
Yeah.
But
I remember when Fedor was in his prime, and it was insane.
Yeah.
Because he looks like some guy that drinks at the bar.
Yeah, he's so unnassuming, and especially he has that sweater that he wears.
Yes. And you're just how it's. You take into consideration, you see, that's what I love about MMA in general is usually with the exception of maybe even Anderson Silva, you look at him and you're like,
he's so unassuming.
Yes, and then you see him talk and you're like, he seems like he's the nicest guy on the face of the earth. But then you see Lesnar, but you're like, okay, of course he just runs over people. But then you see people like Nate Diaz, and he just looks like a guy.
Yeah,
it's insane.
So that's the dangerous part about us.
Yes, yes. You all fit into society just normal.
Well, once you understand how close things could come to ending someone's life or breaking a limb, you kind of have a respect for it, and then you have a respect for life in general. And that's probably one of my favorite things about being a martial artist is all of the respect and humility that I've learned being a martial artist. And it's funny because all my friends that know how to fight, we're the first people to try to make a fight not happen because we know how quick we can end it.
Yes. That's what, so like I said, I'm a fan of Rogan's podcast, and that's what I listen to a lot of the MMA stuff on. And like I was telling you, I'm friend, Josh is one of my friends, but he's so far removed from UFC that it's just, he don't really care about it anymore. So it's hard to get him to talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I hear a lot on Rogan's podcast is that it's like we know, like, and then people talk junk to you, and you're like, you have no idea how quick I can just break your leg.
Oh yeah.
Like just. And he's like, I don't want to. Like, there's no point in it. There's no reason to get to that point.
Yeah.
But that's like you're just saying. That's what was clicking in my head when you were telling me is that repetition of listen. You have no idea. Not to mention, you have no idea if you pick a fight with somebody in a bar that you've never met. You have no idea what their background is, what they can do.
100%. I actually ran into a problem not that long ago. It's actually like my pinned tweet on Twitter.
I'll look at it afterwards.
Yeah. This girl, she had no idea who I was, and she tried to break my neck, and she didn't know that I trained.
Was it just out and about? Was
No,
it during training?
It was
During
in a match.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was in a
Okay.
match, and she tried to break my neck, and she like has a history of trying to hurt girls.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really cool, and I snapped in that moment when I realized that she was trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
And I just blast doubled her, took her down, and she had about 100 pounds on me, and I just ripped her knee off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'll make a note to myself never to make you mad. I try to stay in your good graces.
Or just don't try
But
to
yeah.
break my neck and put me in a
But
wheelchair and we're good.
Rightfully so. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, but
So without getting too detailed, how easy is it to just tear somebody's ligament?
if you have the appropriate hold, which it doesn't take long for me to get it on you.
Is it about angles or where you put the pressure?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Like every bone and joint have a breaking point.
Gotcha.
You can only twist your wrist so far before it starts to hurt.
Yeah.
And all it takes is a little bit of pressure and
gone.
done.
So you guys are taught in competition, because that's where I wanted to segue into. In competition, you're taught to just push it to the limit without hurting.
Yeah.
And unless they don't tap. If they
don't tap, then that's on them.
It's like their choice.
Yeah. If I'm in a competition, I'm pretty respectful. There's actually like a video of me, and I have a girl deep in a heel hook, and I hear her knee snap, and I straight up ask her, I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then like she didn't tap, so I just cranked it some more, and then she's like, "Tap,"
God bless.
But, like,
you guys are warriors.
Yeah. I always want to live to fight another day.
Yes. Now, have you always had a high pain tolerance?
Pretty much. Like I've been getting tattooed since I was 15, so I started getting tattooed super
All right.
young.
Let's segue into the tattoo, because if you look at you're automatically like, okay, either she's addicted to tattoos or she's a tattoo artist, and there's a little bit of both. Right.
I'm not really addicted to tattoos, like the pain of them. I actually like cannot stand getting tattooed anymore because like now like my whole body is pretty much covered. Like I'm probably like 95% covered. Like the only thing I don't really have is like the bottom of my belly.
Yeah.
But like the rest of me is like pretty solid tattoos. But yeah, I don't necessarily like the pain anymore. Like when I was younger, it was about that because like, when you're young, you're dumb and like you're stupid, like anything that like makes you feel something, I guess.
Yeah.
You're about
What's
it.
a weird, I have one, and it was right here. And right after I got it, as soon, like the anticipation is insane when you get your first one. 'Cause you're like, I have no idea. And you put your arm out and you're like, I have no idea what it's going to feel like. And then you start feeling and to me, it was like,
oh, that's not that bad.
This is interesting. It hurts, but it's not like a pain. It's like
it's annoyance.
It's an interesting pain. But as soon as it finished, I was like, I could do that again.
Yeah.
I want to do that again. My problem is it takes me years to figure out what I want. I can't just be like, just put this right here. I got an idea. Let's put this right here. And I'll be like, I'm going to regret this for the rest of my life.
Some people are like that. For me, I would think of something and I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I think I'm going to do that, And like I would take the idea to one of my homies and we would,
Oh, get them.
Cecilia's making an appearance.
Get them.
Yeah, I would just like bring the idea to one of my homies and tell them like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. And, you know, we would tweak the design out a little bit. And before I knew it, I looked like how I do right now.
Now, so you're a tattoo artist. Mm-hmm. How long have you been a tattoo artist?
I've been a tattooer since I was 17. So 15 years. Yeah.
So have you always been artistic? Like you could always draw?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's like a prereq to be a good tattoo artist.
To be a good tattooer, yeah. I have met some tattoo artists that can't draw, but I wouldn't get tattooed by them.
Yeah. Now, are there tattoo artists that, because this is a fascinating like industry to me anyway, are there tattoo artists that can't draw with a pencil and pen, but if they have if their skill level is more grading than drawing, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's the same terminology used. Like in a sense of shading out and.
Yeah, there's people that only do portraits.
Okay.
That can't draw like a traditional like Sailor Jerry style tattoo.
Gotcha.
But like for me, I love what traditional tattooing represents. Mm-hmm. So it was very important for me to learn like old school traditional tattooing.
Methods and
from traditional American style to traditional Japanese. I love the history and I love what those tattoos represent. So it means more to me to be able to do that than to be able to like do a portrait.
Yeah.
Plus, I think that they look better for longer.
Yeah, I feel like I like portraits, but I feel like an original piece that's more artistic is better and it has so many more. You can adapt so many more stories into it as opposed to just someone's face.
Yeah.
Not judging anybody who has like portraits.
I understand the importance of portrait style tattooing, but for me, I feel like, there's different, for every style of tattooing, there's like a different, I guess you could say a different genre, the type of artist that makes that tattoo.
Yeah.
We're all very, very different. Like if you meet a portrait guy, like you can almost tell like, oh, that dude does portraits,
It's just like the artist, like the paint and graphic artist type world.
Exactly.
That's the world that I come from.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can
pick them out.
Now, explain to me the method, or not the method, but the process, for lack of a better term, of when somebody comes in necessarily with an idea and they have no reference points, they just have an idea that they have in their mind.
Okay.
So if I came to you and I say, listen, I got a son, because you might sell me on a tattoo, and I'll fly down to Florida and get a tattoo from you.
Heck yeah.
I have a son who was born on October the 16th. November is the other one. October 16th, 2018.
Okay.
His name's Garrison, so I want a G with those dates in it.
So.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, you're good.
I'm completely open because when it comes to a tattoo art, I have no idea where to start, where to end.
It would I don't know how you feel about flowers, but like for every month of the year, there's a different birth flower. There's birth stones. If you wanted to add the dates, I would say we could do some banners, but dates and like names almost like, unless you do it really fancy cursive, letters look better in banners.
Okay.
Because there's like that little bit of artistic appeal to it. And it has something in there. It's not just floating randomly.
Yeah.
It looks more like a tattoo. And then that piece can all be cohesive. I always say flowers, roses are awesome. They make anything look really, really cool. Since your kid's only a couple years old, you don't really know what he's into yet.
Yeah.
But if he has like a favorite toy or something, you could incorporate that in it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because secretly, before I die, unless I die just early, I want like a sleeve on my left arm. Because that's where my one, and I want that to be the start and be underneath, here.
Oh, nice.
And
that would be awesome.
But the problem is I have all this other real estate that I'm gonna have to fill up.
Hey, I mean,
that
We can make it happen.
I know. And that's the problem is that you guys live down in Florida, so I'd have to make trips to Florida every time I wanted something done.
I mean, maybe PWX can like filter into Florida and do some pop-up shows.
Maybe. Okay, where do you guys live in Orlando?
No, we live in Zephyr Hills.
Where's that?
It's like right outside of Tampa. It's in between Orlando and Tampa.
What could happen is I'll be down there for a week for WrestleMania week.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, we can definitely do something.
I'll set something up with you.
Heck yeah.
And I'll get a tattoo.
Heck yeah. Let's
Deal?
do it.
Done. Now I just got to figure out what I want. I might get that and something else.
I'm going to use this right now as like your verbal contract.
Yes, it is. It is. I'm going to because I'll be down there because I think I'll be down there till Saturday, and then Sunday I'm driving to Orlando because the family's coming down so we can go to Legoland.
Oh, nice. Legoland's
for the kids.
Awesome.
Is it? I hope so.
It's sick, dude. There's also like I don't know if your kids are into dinosaurs or not.
He is. We have a 10 now. He turned 10 2 days ago.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
And so 10-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Okay.
So, but the 1-year-old doesn't care.
Yeah.
He just wants to go do whatever.
There's this place called Dino Land, I believe. It's either Dinosaur World or Dinosaur Land, but it's in between Tampa and Orlando off of the interstate, right around Lakeland. And
what is it? It's like 2 hours from Tampa to Orlando, roughly?
It's like an hour and a half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
it's not bad.
Looking at 45 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, probably even closer to Tampa. So maybe about like 30 minutes.
Okay.
But I actually took Cecilia there, and like it's like an outdoor park, and it's like a botanical garden. So there's like a bunch of really pretty like plants and flowers, and then they have these giant dinosaurs.
Like model dinosaurs and stuff? Yeah, we're into dinosaurs.
Dude, take your kids
Dinosaurs
there.
and Legos.
It's 100% like it's worth it.
See,
and
I'm already booking my way to there.
Your girl is gonna be like, what?
But listen, I'll say, listen. I was doing a podcast with Lindsay today, and she told me something about something called Dino Land in Florida. She's like, yes, we're definitely doing that.
Awesome.
All right, so now we're gonna jump back to competition. So you started in 2014, you said?
And
started training again.
And pretty much like a month after I started training, I did my first competition.
Oh, how?
Yeah.
So not putting yourself over, how did that go?
Man, the first one, I didn't really know what to expect. So it didn't go like as great as it could have gone, but...
Were you terrified?
No, I wasn't.
Jesus Christ, I would be so terrified.
I was just, I was hungry.
Yeah, you were wanting to jump in and go.
And not only that, I was physically hungry too because I was nervous about making weight. And so I didn't eat breakfast that morning, and I just had like my stomach was rumbling, and I didn't have like a breakfast, so I just had some coffee.
Did they weigh the same day?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not like weigh the day before. Oh,
you weigh the same day, and then you wait around all day until because they let the kids go first, then they have the women go, and then the men are last, and then they do absolutes at the end.
Gotcha.
So absolutes is like it doesn't matter what weight class you're in, you can just enter.
Gotcha.
So I weighed in, and my first competition ever, I weighed in at 130 pounds. And I ended up fighting a girl that was like 160. Ugh. And I only got one fight that day, and it kind of sucked because there wasn't anybody else that was there. Yeah, that was over 130. Everybody else was like 120, 125,
Gotcha.
Under, so they didn't want to catch weight up to me to fight me. Yeah. I'm like, it's only 5 pounds, but girls are funny about that stuff in competition. So then I entered the next competition because I was just like, I want to like submit somebody, and
you're crazy. Crazy. I saw in your eye when you said that, like, I want to tap somebody out.
Yeah, because
I've been training for a month. Just think about how crazy, like, not judging you. Think about how crazy that sounds now. Like, we just talked about how like, we know these people can hurt you like that.
Yeah.
And 1 month after starting training again, you're like, you know what? I'm going to do a competition. I'm going to tap somebody out.
Yeah.
That's insane. I love the ambition.
Yeah.
And that's how people succeed with that kind of ambition.
Well,
But thinking back on it, you cannot sit here and look at me and tell me that thinking back on it, you're like, I was fucking crazy.
I mean, I tell people, because like I do crazy shit in wrestling all the time,
Yeah.
but I'm just
I've
like,
seen.
I guess I'm just too dumb to be scared. Like,
I know. Have you ever had a big, major injury?
yeah,
Okay.
in training, in 2015,
Mm-hmm.
I tore my meniscus and my MCL in my left leg.
Okay.
And then I healed that, came back for 2 weeks and tore my meniscus in my right leg.
Yeah. Then you're just wired. That's the way your wiring is that you
Yeah.
just don't.
I don't
like,
quit.
You don't. Yeah. You don't. You're not scared.
No.
Like there's no fear.
No.
Because I was gonna say, usually people that do play sports or do wrestling don't have fear have never really gotten hurt.
No.
And when they get hurt, it's like a fighter getting knocked out.
Yeah.
It's like a fighter has no fear until somebody clocks them and they get knocked out, and then they're like, now I know how that feels. And it can
yeah.
either hurt you or make you better.
No, now it made me hungrier because I had to take off almost a whole year.
That's
and
horrible.
it pushed back my debut for pro wrestling because I had started training pro wrestling in 2015,
Mm-hmm.
but at the beginning of 2015, like in March, and then I tore my meniscus and MCL. Then, it took about 3 months to heal that.
Yeah.
Then I was able to come back for 2 weeks, dude. I got like a handful of wrestling practice in, a handful of jiu-jitsu practice in, and then I was out again for pretty much the rest of 2015. Then I was able to come back, I think, in like December. So I started training again in pretty much January, my bad.
Yeah.
I know my months. But yeah.
Whatever month you say, I'm going to go with. Now, how soon after you started doing the jiu-jitsu competitions did you get into professional wrestling?
Pretty much, it all comes back to tattooing, honestly.
I was about to say it doesn't have to be exact. I'm just interested in.
Well, so what had happened?
Yeah, tell me how you got because were you a fan of pro wrestling?
Yes.
At all? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was definitely a fan of pro wrestling, and
Now, and where were you based out of at this time?
Tampa.
Tampa. Okay. So you're from the Tampa area.
I'm actually from Jacksonville.
Oh, North Carolina?
No, but Florida.
Florida. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and I've just pretty much stayed in Florida for like a good bit of my life. And then when I met Shannon, we moved to North Carolina.
Yeah. Back when we were talking, y'all had the shop there.
Yeah. We opened up a shop in North Carolina, and we had that open.
Did well for a long time, didn't you? A few years at least?
We only had it for a year, and then his mom passed away, and so we ended up closing it and moving back to Florida.
I'm trying to remember.
He did have another gas chamber, though, about 10 years prior to that one.
Did him and Luke have one?
No.
Or did Luke has one?
Luke has another one in
Okay.
Georgia, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew that because I knew the two people that I knew that had them was Luke and Shannon.
Yeah.
And I knew Shannon's was it in Jacksonville, North Carolina?
No,
Or
it was in
their town.
it was in Southern Pines. Yeah, Cameron, where him,
okay.
Jeff and Matt grew up.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, Southern Pines is like
My facts are shit.
It's
right
okay.
now.
I'm here to correct them.
You're here to be my fact checker.
Yeah.
But back to wrestling.
Okay.
So tell me how tattooing got you into wrestling.
Okay. So I've been a fan of wrestling, and I was going through a phase of my life where everything was wrestling. Like everything was either jiu-jitsu or wrestling, and I had already been training jiu-jitsu. So at work while I was drawing and painting and stuff, waiting for tattoos to come in, if I didn't have appointments at this time, I would just watch pro wrestling, and I had my iPad set up so it was playing wrestling constantly.
Yeah.
And some of the guys that I worked with hated it, and
Of course. Because they weren't them.
Yeah.
They weren't wrestlers.
they weren't about it. And but then some of the guys that I worked with were really into it, and we would get into these long conversations, about our favorite wrestlers and stuff like that, And it's kind of funny because segue real quick. I was watching Brett and Sean in the Iron Man match. And I was in this little back part of the shop, watching it. And I had it up super, super loud. And I was just eating my meals because I was fixing to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And somebody peeps their head around the corner and they're like, "That sounds like me." And I look, and it's Friggin' Bray Wyatt. He was in the shop getting tattooed,
Nice.
but he heard the wrestling and
Yeah.
he like peeped around the corner. And I was
Now,
like,
this was when they were based out of Tampa.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
Yeah.
When the Florida Championship Wrestling.
it was actually right after FCW had closed.
Okay, when they were about
but
to move.
I think that Bray lived in Tampa.
Gotcha.
And yeah, he came in and got an anchor on his finger. It was pretty funny.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's what I would do. I would just like sit at the shop and watch wrestling and paint and draw and like, you know, just
Yeah.
wait until I had to go to the gym or wait until I had to go to training.
Yeah.
And then one day I got this guy in my chair and he was like, "Oh, you like wrestling?" And I was like, "Yeah, I love wrestling." And he was like, "I do that. Have you ever thought about doing it?" And I was like, "Dude, like that's my dream job."
This is the moment that changes my life.
Yeah, and so like he gave me the address to the school that he trained at.
Nice.
And you know, it was just like it wasn't like really like the best place to start learning how to do
Yeah.
professional wrestling.
But it opened doors.
It opened doors for me. I actually I met a couple of guys, Leo Bryan and Michael Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the Dirty Blondes. They've been working for MLW,
Gotcha.
the past year.
Okay.
But they actually were doing shows with Jay Lethal. And they're like, "Jay has a school out here."
This is
You-
when
you
he was in
should-"
Florida.
Yeah.
Right? Does he still live in Florida?
Jay's still in Florida.
Oh, okay,
He still
okay.
has Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling now.
Gotcha, okay.
But at the time, it was called Uproar.
Yes,
And,
I remember. Okay.
Yeah, and so they were like, "Hey, you should come meet Jay so you can like actually learn how to do this the right way."
Yeah.
You know, because like they were like, "You're really athletic for a girl," you know, like
Now,
not to like.
did they know that you had the jiu-jitsu background?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were like, "You have a cool background." Like they liked how I looked and everything, like without being creepy, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's
But-
it's a part of the wrestling
Yeah,
business.
it's 100%.
You have to be marketable.
Yes.
We're not saying that because that is a weird space.
Yeah.
When you have
They're like,
because,
"Oh, I like how
because
you
if you
look."
think about it, like 90% of wrestling promotions are owned by men.
Yeah.
And you want to have a female presence on your show, but you have to be like, listen, you can't say, you know what, you have the sex appeal that we need, because that's not it.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get so much hate for this, but a lot of times when a girl or a female talent or a male talent is all sex appeal,
Yeah.
they can't wrestle worth a shit.
You know.
Am I lying?
It's not 100% a lie, because like there are really beautiful girls out
True,
there
true.
that can really wrestle.
Yes,
But
but-
there are some athletes out there that rely strictly on their looks.
Yes. Okay.
And
I'll go. Yeah, I believe that. It's that's
you
that's the
know.
that's the ones I was
yeah.
kind of referring to, which I didn't do my best job of
It's okay.
clarifying.
Like I said, I'm here to
But
tighten
it's-
everything up for you, man.
You're just gonna be my co-host, like for all the podcasts I do. Because anytime I've come, like there are like beautiful girls that are very good at professional wrestling, but you can tell the ones that rely, like, listen, I look like a model. That's what they have on WWE TV. Why don't you pay me $400 to show up and
Not do
I look
shit.
like not
Yeah.
do shit? And it's just like, but then people like you. Like the first time I met you, I was like, yeah, she gets it. She like, and I think I knew that you and Shannon were dating. So I was like, Shannon had to have like helped her like with how things are and how to do stuff and like drive and this and that. And I was like, yeah, that's why when the first time I had you, I was like, yeah, because people had told me, like, have you thought about Lindsay Snow? Brian was on me for like months before, like, what about Lindsay Snow? What about Lindsay Snow? And I'm like, I've never seen. Send me some stuff. And he finally sent it. And I was like, yeah, we need somebody good for Rachel that would be legit, because Rachel's the big badass of North Carolina. We need
Right.
somebody who could be legit to be a contender for her. And he's like, dude, Lindsay. And then Avery was coming from Florida too. And he's like, there's this girl named Avery Taylor that's good too. She could ride up with Lindsay. And I was like, game, I'm down if Lindsay's willing to do it. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then as soon as I saw it, I was like, all right, both you and Avery are like, these girls are good. You can tell they want it. They're not just here being like, listen, this is what I want to do. But you know,
Dude, I'm definitely not
just-
scared to put in the work.
yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that didn't sound sexist at all.
No.
Okay.
No, I get where you're coming from,
you have
because
to,
like
and it's the same thing with like to like make my, like, there's guys that are like that too. There's guys that'll turn around and they'll look like $1 million freaking dollars that are just cut
and shredded,
that have never, like, don't walk in front of the camera. Oh, is that on? Thank you. That have never, like, they've taken 3 bumps in their life but think they should be your world champion because they look like what people are supposed to look like in professional wrestling.
You know,
so that doesn't pertain just to women in professional wrestling.
Well, nowadays, the way that pro wrestling is going, you know, like, whenever I was growing up, like, when pro wrestlers were on TV, you were like, God, like, look at this dude, you know, like, this dude looks crazy. Like, you know, everybody just, they cared about their bodies. Yeah. They cared about their look. You know, they cared about their gear. Like, not to say that people don't do that so much now, but like, I feel like the cruiserweights are, you know, becoming the new heavyweights.
Yes. Like, size doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
like, physical size doesn't matter anymore. And I think that I like that because going back to what we were talking about, MMA is like their stars they're from all over and look completely different than what you think they would.
Right.
They look like normal people. Yeah. And I think it's more relatable. I mean, I know what's preached as the Vince McMahon tactic is he wants everybody to look like a superhero.
Yeah.
But I think that the more relatable that you are, like, you have people like James Drake. Yeah. Who looks like somebody who just drinks beer at the bar every Friday, which he probably does. But that's unbelievably athletic. Yes. I think in sports, NFL, it doesn't matter if NFL, or NBA, soccer,
it's
baseball.
Your abilities that speak louder than your appearance.
Yes, and I think what draws people is stories and people that shouldn't be able to do it that can, because that gives you that belief system that like anything is possible. Yeah. I think if everybody at everything was a superior athlete that basically were born with those genetics and are just lucky by nature, lucky by genealogy, then sports wouldn't be as popular as they are.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, but not to shit on that or anything, but I definitely...
Oh, shit on it if you want to.
I definitely try to make my appearance as intimidating as possible. Yes. Because, like, I actually joked around the other day because somebody was, like, talking trash to me, and they're like, you're not a kaiju, you're just, like, a little girl with tattoos and stuff. And I was just like, hey, I'm a teacup kaiju.
Nice.
But, like, I'm still a monster. Just because I'm not, like, 8 feet tall doesn't mean that I can't destroy you. Yeah. You know, I definitely take the time to make myself stronger any chance that I get. You know, I'm in the gym or I'm learning new techniques. You know, I definitely pride myself on the way that my body is, you know.
Now, do you still feel, being honest with yourself, do you still feel you have the same hunger that you had when you started?
I'm hungrier now.
Hungrier? Because you've seen what you can... Is it, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to assume. Do you think it's because you've seen what you can do when you put your mind to it? In a sense of, I'm big on going into things, being very gullible and not very knowledgeable about it. In a sense, like, for example, me and my friends made an album one time. It was a comedy music album. Okay. And I started researching on, like, what's the best ways to promote it, what's the best way to do this. And I found myself, the more I dug up, the less motivated I was, because all you read is about how you have to be very lucky. You have to have a record company behind you. You have to have this for success. You have to have that for success. To where you're very naive is the word I was looking for earlier. Like, if you're very naive to a situation, you're just like, no, I'm going to start this and I'm going to be successful at it. And if I put the time and effort into it, I'm going to be the best.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I look at things. Yeah. There is no quit in me. I started this coming out of, like, a very bad situation. Like, I started training out of a very bad situation. I was homeless at the time, and I was sleeping on my friend's floor in her, like, one bedroom, like it was like a studio apartment,
Yeah.
and I had a blow up mattress on her floor in her living room, and that's where I was at my life when I started training.
Mm-hmm.
I literally started from the bottom, and now I've been just gifted like these amazing opportunities that I've worked so hard for.
Yeah.
I'm so hungry to like reach the top
Mm-hmm.
that like I can't quit. And I have all of these people that have put their faith in me,
Mm-hmm.
that see something in me,
Yeah.
that just like ignites that flame in me like so much brighter. Like every chance that I get, I'm just like, man, I have to do this because these people are counting on me. Like I cannot let these people down. And it's also like I also want to sorry, I'm getting a little choked up. Like I also really just I want to leave behind like a legacy.
Yeah.
Like I'm really caught up with that. With tattooing, I get to leave behind, like everybody gets to wear like a part of me,
Yeah.
you
You were a part of that person's life.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not only when you do something for someone, you're a part of their life, but it's most of the time it's in memory. Mm-hmm. Like you have a stamp of where you were a part of their life.
Exactly.
Which is awesome.
And like, not to get grim or anything, but like when I die, like I want people to like have stuff to remember me by. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I have a niece and a nephew right now, and like I just want to be like a really good role model for them.
Have they
and,
seen
like,
your wrestling?
Kind of. My
Are they young?
sister, yeah, they're really young.
So she's like, I don't want them fighting people at school.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
niece is like 4 years old, but
Oh, okay.
like she sees like
Does she
pictures
know-
of
yeah.
me and
Oh,
stuff,
that's awesome.
and like she understands that like Auntie Lynn's does some crazy shit on the weekends, and like
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, so she's really into like Frozen and stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like I don't know how into
Once
like
wait till she's like 9,
Yeah.
10-ish, then you're gonna be the coolest aunt ever.
yeah, well,
Coolest.
I did get her when I went to Mexico. I did get her like a super cool wrestling mask, and she runs around the house
Yeah.
wearing that now.
That's awesome.
So like I just want to be like a really like a good role model for like younger
Yeah.
kids that like really like didn't have that person in their life telling them that they could do like whatever they wanted. I always wanted to do like something physical like this, and then it wasn't until like I was like a little bit older that I kind of realized like my potential.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of like doubt. I had a lot of people telling me no.
Yeah.
I had people even that I worked with, would make fun of me, and they're like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Try to go play superhero?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, actually, yeah. And like now that they've seen like what I can do, it's funny because the same people that were like hating on me are now like some of my biggest
Yes.
fans, and
That's
like
the beauty of it.
it's so crazy to me because like
That's what I tell people all the time. When you have doubters, they just don't understand where your passion lies. Like if they either that or they wish they had the balls to do what you're doing.
That's it. That's mostly it,
Yeah.
dude. I got made fun of like so hard, and then like I had so many people try to like shoot me down for it.
Yeah. Well, just this not to take away. This is my version of something like you're talking about. Is like recently I did the New Japan.
Yeah,
Thank you, at Hammerstein. And I remember, like, I don't know if I told the story on the podcast before. I think I did on the last podcast. But like when I got there, like, I never get emotional about. I do about like dog videos on Facebook and like my son and my 10-year-old. But like with moments, I try to stop. For the last like 4 years, I've tried to stop and just take it in and say, appreciate this because you've worked your ass off to get here. So 16 years in wrestling, and I do the Hammerstein thing, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, like I remember starting when I was 18. And people being like, what are you doing? I remember getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and going and working out in that old NWA 20 foot by 20 foot in a glass shop, freezing ass cold, hard as hell, just killing myself. I remember deciding I wasn't going to wrestle anymore and just do production stuff and go that route. And then I remember getting divorced because I put so much time and effort into other things instead of my marriage, and learning from that. And I just start piecing all these things together. I'm like, and now I'm here. Now I'm doing something that is like a million people is going to see. That's ridiculous. So I feel like you're going to have that moment if you haven't already. Because if I had any advice, which I don't even know if I'm in a place to give you advice, but any advice is appreciate the other moments that lead to that. Because I'm a firm believer, and people tell me this, is when you reach the top, it's 10 times harder to stay there.
Oh, 100%.
And it's not as enjoyable. It's enjoyable, but not as enjoyable as the journey that you took to get there. Yeah. Because you're always growing, always like pushing forward.
Right.
So appreciate those. Like we were talking about Bloodsport, which was fucking huge for you.
Oh God, that was amazing. Josh giving me that opportunity, and I got to fight Sumi Sakai.
Yes.
And
I've seen that match.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it was amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, Sumi's a legend, man. That was just such an honor to be on Bloodsport for one, and then to have a match with her, like, and to be the first ever women's match on Bloodsport. It was just like, man, all of these great things, and like Josh just like had all this faith in me, and I was just like, I just kept thinking back to like a couple years prior, whenever I honestly like just flew to California one day. It was at like the beginning of my Jiu Jitsu career, and I like had been training pro wrestling a little bit, so it was in like 2016, and I just, I randomly like flew to California because I had been following Eric Paulson for a really long time. And, he helped train Ronda Rousey. He helped train Shayna Baszler, Marina Shafir, Jessamine Duke. And so I wanted to go train there because, like, I was getting really good training from Rob Kahn in Tampa, but I really like leg locks, and I really like heel hooks. I really like toe holds, and really just mean, nasty stuff like neck cranks. And I'm about that. I love wrist locks, you know, all the stuff that people consider prison rules. Like I'm about that. And so I went to California just to train with Eric Paulson. And I showed up on his doorstep one day, and he was like, "Hi, who are you?" And I was like, "I'm Lindsay. I'm from Florida. Like, what's up?" And he was like, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "I honestly just wanted to drop in and train for a week." And every day I took every class he had. From like, I'm not a striker, but I just showed up, and I was like, "Oh, I'll do striking. Like, do you have extra gloves?" Like, I pretty much lived at the gym. And then like by the end of the first day, he was just like, "Where are you staying?" And I was like, "Oh, I got a rental car," I wasn't really worried about it. I was just crazy. Like, there's a shower at the gym. There's an In-N-Out burger like right down the street. So I was just like, In-N-Out burger. I was just like, it's going to be like camping, you know? And he was like, "Hold on." And he grabbed one of the fighters off of the floor, and he was like, "Ernie, this is Lindsay. Lindsay, this is Ernie. Ernie, can she stay at your house?" And I was like, this is the first day I've ever met these people. Like, this is crazy. And Ernie was like, "I live with my mom. Hold on, let me call her." And I was getting
That's awesome.
He called his mom, and she was like, "How old is this girl that you're trying to bring over?" And he was like, she was like 30. Like,
she's in from Florida.
It was so crazy and so strange.
Did you stay the rest of the week with them?
I did.
It was probably amazing too.
Dude, it was so amazing. Like, I stayed on their couch. I tried to give him money. He didn't accept it. She was like making me all these crazy like Mexican dishes. This traditional
amazing.
Mexican family. Like, they were so good to me, and I still am friends with Ernie to this day.
Awesome.
I actually went back to California in 2017, and I fought at the ADCC trials, and another friend that I met that day, Javier, actually helped me lose the weight to make weight for ADCC. So like, I'm still friends with these dudes to this day. Yeah, they're homies. But when I was out training with Eric, sorry to go off on all these tangents.
You're fine. I'm following.
Okay, so when I was out there training with Eric, Josh Barnett was still a part of CSW.
Gotcha.
And he was training his fighters in the cage one day, you know, and so like we all got done with practice, you know, at the same time, and so we were waiting in line for the showers, you know, because they're like everybody was trying to get showered before they left or whatever, and Josh was just standing there, or like we're both sitting on the couch talking and stuff, and he was just like, "So where are you from?" And I was like, "I'm from Florida," and he was like, "God, Florida's a crazy place."
Yes, it is.
And I was like, "Yeah, you know the difference between an alligator and a crocodile." And like at that point, the door opened and it was my turn to go into the bathroom, you know. So I was just like, he's like, "Yeah, they're snouts," and I was like, "Nah, man, like one you'll see later and one you'll see in a while." And then like I just closed the door. And I think like the stupidity of that just like kind of resonated.
That's amazing. I love that joke too.
And like everybody just like was dying laughing, and he was just like, he didn't laugh, he was just like,
what?
Gave me like this stupid face, and I just like closed the door, and I was like, man, I just made an ass out of myself. Like, what the hell? Like, these people are gonna think I'm stupid, you know? But then after that, he was like really, really cool with me, and he was just like, "Well, have fun in Florida, hanging out with those ditch gators," you know, because awesome. I told him about gators being in ditches and stuff, and like all the crazy stuff that happens in Florida, and how like we're all just one bad decision away from being the Florida man.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. About this, that was in Florida.
Yeah.
There's a radio station in Charlotte that has a segment called which of these happened in Florida, and they give 4 like situations or 4 police reports,
like a multiple choice,
and you have to choose. People call in and guess which one of them happened in Florida. It's great.
Yeah.
So the Bloods. Do you have anything else big coming up that you can talk about?
Well, I'm doing WrestleCade with Shannon
Nice.
next weekend.
That's always a good time.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. And then I have Shine coming up in December, a double shot. So that'll be Detroit and Chicago on, I believe, the 15th and the 16th of December. And then got a bunch of stuff coming up next year.
There's nothing but success in the future for you.
Thank you.
That's what I feel.
I appreciate that, man.
And thank you for sitting down and talking to me. Hope you had fun.
I had a blast.
Cecilia had fun.
She always
She woke up like 45 minutes in. I think we're like 52. 45 minutes in, she woke up, looked at me like, "Is this fucking over yet?" And then laid back down.
She's like, "If you're not gonna feed me, I don't have anything to say to you.
I have no interest in you."
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, and good luck there with everything.
All right. Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you for listening to the Chewsday Special podcast. Find all of our old episodes at ChewsdaySpecials.com.
That's ChewsdaySpecial.com.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.